Hey Wilson, how's it going?
Hey Farhan, how are you?
Good, good, good. Welcome to class.
Thank you. Mhm.
How was your day?
Normal, no news.
Nothing interesting, nothing fun?
Yeah, nothing is interesting.
Uh-huh. Cool, cool. Um,
Yeah.
any big plans for the weekend besides working with your friend?
Uh, um, I will review some software methodologies. Uh, yeah, it will be fun.
Nice, that's good. Software methodologies. And besides that, how's everything in Cochabamba? How's the weather?
Very windy, but at the same time it's sunny.
Really? So it's windy and sunny.
Yeah, these days are something crazy because there's a lot of wind.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why? Is it just because of the change in seasons, or is it something else?
Well, it's the season. It's the season, right? The weather season. But mm, in some way, it's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can understand it if it's not consistent weather-wise, especially if it's sunny, but if it's windy, that doesn't seem very. I mean, maybe it's fun, maybe because then if it's warm, then the wind makes your body cooler if you're outside. You know what I mean? Uh, it could have advantages also, but I'm not sure if maybe there are more disadvantages than advantages.
Right.
Yeah. Cool, cool, awesome. So staying busy doing software stuff. Uh, oh, okay. Jose just left. Uh, hey, I think I heard a baby.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose, how's it going, man? Jose, are
Hello,
you there?
I'm
Hey, Jose, how's it going?
here. I'm here.
Good, good, good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How Wilson as well? Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, Jose.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm figuring out if there is a. Uh-huh. Okay, sounds good. Guys, I have a question for you guys now, just to begin the class. What do you guys enjoy doing with your friends in your spare time? Let's start with Wilson.
One thing that I liked a lot was watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What kinds of movies?
mm, uh, any genre.
General
Yeah.
movies, like sometimes Hollywood, sometimes maybe action movies,
Uh,
suspense.
yeah. Right. But well, I like, yeah, we always have favorites movies, so it's interesting when you are with your friends. There is always a movie that need that could we watch.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you enjoyed watching movies and, many different types. Jose, what about you? What do you enjoy doing with your friends in your spare time?
Well, we are used to play soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and usually we bet when we play soccer, and the winner uh, the winner will earn some money. Sometimes we participate in some competitions as well with our team,
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
against another teams that we don't know. But well, it's a funny time to spend the time with my friends that way.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. So you enjoy playing soccer. Uh, Murad, I think you have signed before as Jackie.
Yes.
Murad, how's it
Hello.
going? Good, good.
Fine. Fine, thank
Welcome
you.
to welcome to class. I think it's been maybe a few days since I've seen you.
Yes, because I used to be very busy at night.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes I try to attend your classes, but it's already over.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know my times are a little different in terms of being accessible to folks. Sometimes it's a little too late at night. But Murad, tell me, what do you enjoy doing with your friends in your spare time? With your friends or family?
We just talk about different things like soccer, well, sports in general,
Mm-hmm.
about culture, about movies. We sometimes go for a picnic to have, for example, outdoor meals like
Mm-hmm.
lunch, dinner, and that's all.
Nice, nice. So generally, you have fun with your family and friends. You enjoy nice conversations, enjoy each other's company. Those are all great ways to pass our time with our families and friends. Um, Alberto, how's it going?
Hi, how are you doing, Farhan?
Good, good, good. Doing very well, thank you. Thanks for joining the class. We're actually starting off, Alberto, with a question for each of us. What do you enjoy doing with your friends and family in your spare time?
Mm, well, I think I like go to eat. I like try to find a new restaurant or try to taste a new dish or things like that. Sometimes I like buy Blu-rays and watch them with my family.
Nice.
That's all.
So movies, good food, hanging out, just kind of enjoying life, right? I think I
Yeah,
think we I think we all enjoy doing those things, especially in our busy lives. And whenever we get free time with our friends and family, we try to make the most of that time. Uh, so today, the reason I'm asking these questions is because I wanted you guys to think about pronouns a little bit. Pronouns are the topic of today's class. And when we talk about pronouns, there are many different types. Today, our focus is going to be on personal pronouns. And personal pronouns are actually based on four different criteria, right? The first criteria is whether or not this pronoun is being used as the object of a sentence or the subject of a sentence, right? So when we think about pronouns, what are pronouns? Pronouns, if they are subject pronouns, that means that these are the pronouns that we use in a sentence to describe who is doing the action, the noun that is doing the action, right? So the subject does the action, right? So there are different types of subject personal pronouns. For I, the subject personal pronoun is I. Like for me, the individual, the subject pronoun is going to be I. For you, it's you. For he, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. These are the subject pronouns. I went to school. Who went to school? I went to school. Right? He drove the car. She cooked dinner. Right? So these are the subject pronouns because they're the ones that are doing the action. Right? So that's the first category of personal pronouns. If we have subject pronouns, then the opposite is an object pronoun. And the object receives the action, right? The object receives the action. The subject performs the action, and the object receives the action. So we have the same kind of setup, right? If the subject pronoun is I, then the object pronoun is going to be, what do you think is going to be, Murad?
Sorry?
What do you think the object pronoun is for I, right? So for example, you can say
Is
I.
me?
It's me, right?
Me. Yes.
How did you get to me? Give me an example of a sentence using the object pronoun me.
For example, give me a chance.
Give me a chance, right?
Help
So
me.
Alberto, yeah, great job. Help me, give me, right? Alberto, in this example, is me receiving the action? Give me a chance. Help me.
Yes, you are receiving the action.
Exactly, right? So help me, the me is the object pronoun that is receiving the action, right? In this case, receiving the help or getting the chance, right? So when we look at the subject pronouns, we have, I'm just going to write these down. We have I, you, he, she, we, they, right? And you can be both for singular and also for plural. If you're talking to a lot of people, then you also say you guys or you, right? All of you, right? If you're talking to one person, it's also you, right? So those are the subject pronouns. And object pronouns, if we look at the situation here, if we look at the situation with the object pronouns, then we have, so Murad said me. What is the object pronoun if you is receiving the action? What do you guys think?
The same. You.
Yeah, it's the same, right? Wilson, do you agree with Murad? Can you give me an example of a sentence in which you is receiving an action?
I help you.
Yeah,
I
right?
give something to you. Or give you
Exactly.
something.
Exactly, right? I help you. I give you something, right? So you is the object pronoun form of the subject pronoun you as well. What about he? If he is a subject pronoun, Alberto, what do you think the object pronoun version of he is?
Him?
Him, right? Fantastic. Give me an example using him.
I'm killing. I'm killing him.
I am killing him, right? Alberto is an assassin. He's a murderer. I am killing him, right? So, fantastic. What about for she? Murad, what about for she?
Her.
Her, right? Can you give me an example using her?
I give her a gift.
I give her a gift, right? Fantastic. And what do you think it is for we, Wilson?
Us?
Yeah, fantastic. Us, right? Can you give me an example using us?
Mm, can you give us more topics to study?
Can you give us more topics to study, right? Fantastic. You guys are using the verb give a lot, right? It's good, but we can also think of other verbs, right? So us is right. Us is right for we. And Alberto, what is the object pronoun version of they? What do you think?
It is them.
Them, right? So you guys have finished the list, right? For it's I, you, he, she, we, they in the subject. And in the object category, it's me, you, him, her, us, and them, right? So those are the first two categories when you look at personal pronouns, right? These are all examples of personal pronouns. There's also another one that we can use, and we can replace. We also have it, right? It can also be an object pronoun. So I'll also write it. Right? Give it to me, right? I mean, you're talking about some other object. You can say, well, actually, give it to me. The object is going to be me. But in some instances, we can use, for example, Jenny ate it, right? We're talking about a cake. Who ate the cake? Jenny ate it, right? Who stole the car? You know, Alberto stole it. Because after he killed the man, he stole the car, right? So I mean, there's many examples, right? So we can use it as well for the object pronoun. So there's another category that's important, right? We saw this with he and she and him and her, and that's the category of gender, right? If you if something doesn't have a gender, then we just use it, right? For example, a cake, a car, a computer, whatever, right? Who turned on the computer? I turned it on, right? I mean, no one knows. Who cares? It's not like Spanish where every word, every noun is feminine or masculine, right? English doesn't have genders for nouns. Only for individuals, right? If it's a boy or a girl, then he versus she. Otherwise, everything is it, right? So another consideration is gender, and you guys already, kind of demonstrated that you know that. So these are personal pronouns, right? Personal pronouns, we have the subject pronouns and the object pronouns. Do we have any questions, guys, about these two categories of personal pronouns?
One question.
Yeah.
When we are using it, can we use this for animals?
Yes, you can, right? So if you don't know the gender of the animal, and even if you know the gender of the animal, it's in English we don't really care. For example, you're talking about an insect, right? Or maybe you're at the zoo. And the zoo is a good example. You're looking at animals, right? So, did you see the elephant? Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so it's very easy in English. It could be a female elephant, it could be a male elephant. There's no specification, so we can just use it.
Also for people, right? For example, if I told you, if I am telling you someone is knocking the door, and you can say it must be Alberto.
Yeah, it must be Alberto, that's right. Or what's an even more common example? Who is it?
Right.
Right? Who is it, right? We say who is it a lot, and
it?
in that case it is the object, right? So yeah, many different ways. Usually though with people, I mean if you know the person and if you're talking about a person and you know the person is a male versus female, then we would use him or her or she or he. But definitely there are examples when even with people we use it. That's absolutely correct. That's right.
We also use they or them when we don't know.
That's right, that's right. Give me an example of that, Murad.
There is a song. Everybody likes to live like they want to live.
Yeah, right? Everybody wants to live like they want to live,
Yes.
right? So, this is a major problem in English. When you are writing in English, right, and you are trying to be fair to both males and females, we use they a lot, right? And it's something that, for example, in Spanish, we don't have this problem because you can write. Oh, actually, Spanish also, I guess, ellos means guys and girls together, right? But ellas is just females, right? English, we don't care. We write they for everything. So in some literature, for example, like in scientific literature, in official literature, they always write, he/she, right? Because
He or she.
he or she, exactly, right? He or she. That's what that means. And in common conversation, we just say they.
They.
Right? If we don't know the gender of the individuals or of the people that we're talking about, then we just use they. Right? It's very common in English. Absolutely, Alberto. Yeah, I've seen that as well. Yep, you can use that as well. So, great questions, guys, and great points by all of you. Any other questions on these first two types of personal pronouns, the subject and the object?
They also could be used for animals, right?
Yep.
When it's
Absolutely.
plural.
When it's plural,
Course,
yeah. Yeah. If there's more than one, you can use they. Because they is essentially the plural of it, or the plural of he, or the plural of she. We have one word to describe all three types of plurals, right? So, yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, that's great. The second kind of category that I want to talk to you guys about is reflexive pronouns, right? And reflexive pronouns are also personal pronouns, but reflexive pronouns are used when the the subject and the object are the same, right? So for example, Jane sent herself an email. Herself, right? This is a personal pronoun. Herself. I sent myself a message, so I did not forget my daily tasks, whatever, right? Nowadays, people send themselves emails all the time. If you forget something, we don't live in a world of pen and paper anymore. We live in a world of emails and communication. Everything is online. So we send ourselves information, right? So that we don't forget. So what do you guys think is special about the reflexive pronouns, right? For I, what is the reflexive pronoun for I for the first person?
Myself.
Myself, right? Myself, fantastic. And what do you think is the reflexive pronoun for you, Alberto?
Yourself.
Yourself, right? Can you give me an example of yourself?
Mm, you bought yourself a new underwear.
You bought yourself a new underwear, right? Fantastic. And what about Murad? What about he? What is the a reflexive pronoun for he?
Himself.
Himself, right? And what about for she, Wilson?
Uh, Herself.
Herself, right? Exactly. And what about for we?
Ourselves.
Ourselves, right? Fantastic. And what about for they, Alberto?
Themselves.
Themselves. You guys are killing this lesson. You guys are doing. We say this in English sometimes. You guys are killing. I mean, young people say this, right? If you're doing something very well, you're killing it. You're doing it so well, right? So you guys are killing this lesson. Wilson, it's not their selves actually. Where did you?
Themselves.
Yeah, where did you get their selves, Wilson? Have you heard that before somewhere, maybe?
I was just thinking.
It's actually themselves,
Okay.
right? So it's a little bit of a difference, but their selves is a good guess. Absolutely, it's a good guess, right? So, any questions, guys? 3 categories: subject pronouns, object pronouns, as well as reflexive pronouns.
It's okay for me.
All right, Alberto's good. What about you guys? Murad and
Yes, it's
Wilson?
okay.
You guys are good?
I have
Okay.
I have
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
question, but
Sure
it's
thing.
not it is not related with the topic with today's topic.
Sure.
Okay. When can I use the as well and to? Can I use both of them in this in the same situations?
Yeah, you can as well, and to. To usually we end at the to we use at the end of a sentence. As well, we also use at the end of a sentence. Both of them we use at the end of sentences usually, right? So what's an example, Wilson? What were you thinking of, maybe? An example of as well.
Alberto is learning English as well.
Yeah, that works. Alberto's learning English as well, right? Or what's the way to say it with to?
I think we use as well and to when we enumerate 2 things.
When you're
Or
talking,
3 or 4.
when you're enumerating more than one thing,
Yes.
multiple objects, yeah, it makes sense.
Like
You can.
James is studying physics and math as well.
Or James is studying physics as well as chemistry.
Or as well as, yeah.
So we do see that sometimes, Wilson, as well, actually. So Murad brings a good point. We can use as well at the end of a sentence to describe, for example, Alberto is Bolivian as well, right? You guys are both from Bolivia. So Alberto is Bolivian too. Alberto is Bolivian as well. Or we can use as well to describe multiple objects, which we can't do necessarily for to. To kind of ends the sentence, right? but as well you can use to list multiple things, right? I am studying biology as well as chemistry as well as physics,
Oh,
right? He uses he knows how to ride a bike as well as drive a car, right? So you're listing multiple ideas or multiple ideas in a sentence, and you can use as well to link them instead of saying and, or using commas and stuff like that. Especially if there are two things. Using as well more than 2 times in a sentence sounds a little weird. If you're saying, for example, I love to swim as well as bike as well as run, that sounds a little weird. But if you're saying just two things, I love to swim as well as run,
wow.
right? So it sounds a little bit cleaner. It sounds a little bit nicer.
Okay, I got it.
Awesome. That was a great question. When we bring these things up, we are synthesizing our language skills, right? So whenever we have questions like that, it doesn't matter if it belongs to the subject matter or not. I want you guys to share those with me. So fantastic. Okay, guys, I think we're ready. Let's get started with our article for today then. The article for today is actually very interesting. I enjoy this article because it shows us sometimes how crazy the law gets, right? In a society that is governed by laws, for example, all the societies that we live in, sometimes the law can be a little difficult to understand. And sometimes the law may not necessarily be fair, right? So what we are looking at today is a news story from France, and I'm going to screen share as well. It's a news story from France that has gotten many people very, very agitated, extremely agitated about the circumstances surrounding this particular legal scenario, right? So we start the article. The title of the article is French Anger as Jeweler Charged with Murder of Thief. Okay? You guys all have the article open?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Hundreds gathered on Monday in one of the Nice's main squares. Oh, this is not right English. In one of Nice's main squares to show their support for Mr. Turk. Anger is growing in France after a jeweler who shot and killed a teenage robber in the southern city of Nice was charged with voluntary homicide. Stefan Turk, 67, shot Anthony Astley in the back on Wednesday as he and another robber were fleeing on a scooter with gems stolen from the jeweler's shop. A Facebook page supporting Mr. Turk has garnered more than 1.6 million likes. There has been a spate of high-profile jewelry thefts on the French Riviera in recent months. Mr. Turk supporters are defending his actions, arguing for the right of self-defense amid a general climate of insecurity. As well as the Facebook page, there have been hundreds of messages posted on Twitter in support of the jeweler, and an online petition has also been launched, local media reports. Local media report. I don't know. BBC is supposed to be like actual English. I don't know what this is. Anyway. Mr. Turk said he was punched and kicked before being forced to open his safe at gunpoint. Armed, aggressive thugs attacked me, he said in a brief statement to French television. I regret what happened. I regret that he is dead, but it is him who decided to do what he did. It is normal that I would defend myself. His critics have condemned the use of violence and accused Mr. Turk of vigilantism. Mr. Astley's sister says Mr. Turk deserves prison for shooting the teenager in the back. The dead teenager had a string of previous convictions for assault, theft, and driving offenses, reports say. French law allows for killers to escape conviction for murder if they can show that they acted in legitimate defense, but the prosecutor in the case does not believe this applies as the jeweler's life did not appear to be in immediate danger, the AFP news agency reports. No one cares. Oh, actually, we'll finish it. Interior Minister Manuel Valls visited Nice on Tuesday to reassure jewelers that the government still supported them. His visit comes a day after hundreds of people gathered in one of the city's main squares to support Mr. Turk, who is under house arrest in an unknown location, having been charged on Friday. 2 months ago, a single gunman in the Riviera resort of Cannes stole jewels worth 100 million euros. 84 million pounds or 136 million dollars, right? So this is a very interesting scenario, guys, right? When we look at the situation that we are seeing with this article, right, it is kind of mind-boggling that this is even an issue. In the United States, this would have never become an issue, right? In the United States, if somebody is robbing you, if somebody is threatening you, and you kill that person out of self-defense, then you will never go to jail. I mean, the other person was interfering with your life, right? So before we get to that, though, Alberto, did you want to know about the quote that you typed?
No, I just thought that it was interesting. The idea, the thought that it transmits.
Mm-hmm. It is a very powerful statement, right? I mean, this is the guy who, you know, to be honest, this sentence is...
Looks like he was looking for this.
Yeah, right? It's a little difficult to... You know, this is, I think, one of the important things to know about this entire topic, right? I mean, it's all based on perspective, right? The jeweler versus the thief versus all of these other jewelers in France now are also very agitated by what has happened, right? Let's start with that, actually. Let's start with that as our main question. So, Murad, let me ask you, why do you think so many French citizens are supporting this guy, Stéphane Turk?
I think the law in France is very strict. And I don't like that the government would accuse someone of doing such things while he's just defending himself. It's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with what you mentioned in the United States. If someone is being threatened or robbed of his properties, he has the right to self-defend.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
But then,
It's fair.
so would you imagine then that these French folks, all of these people that are signing the petition and the people who have liked the Facebook post and are writing on Twitter, all of these people, they would also share your opinion, right? That this man should not be prosecuted.
Jailed.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly, right? So we see some agreement there. What about you guys? Alberto, would you, if you were in this position, right, somebody comes to your house, has a gun to your head, and says, give me your money, and then you give him everything, as he's leaving, you shoot him and you kill him, and then the police comes and gets you, what would be your reaction?
Well, I would try to say that I was defending myself because
Defending myself.
I was defending myself because he was still in my home, and that it was my right. I had the right to do that because my life was in risk.
Absolutely right. And I think it's the same argument that we're hearing from Stefan. Is the law in Bolivia, does it allow self-defense if you kill somebody in self-defense? Does it allow that as a right? Do you know?
I think it's allowed here in Bolivia. The law protects you if you kill someone in self-defense.
Makes sense. I mean, to me, that's almost a fundamental right of, leading your life. I mean, I'm not going to let some thief or some murderer just run away from my house, right? Wilson, what's your opinion about this? If you were in a similar situation, I don't know if Alberto lives in your city, Cochabamba, or maybe he lives in Bogota, not Bogota, I'm sorry, La Paz or Sucre or some other city. What's your reaction to this, Wilson?
I was trying to understand if those. I think that the article says that the thieves are some teenagers, kids, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. They were teenagers.
Okay. Then I don't know. I wouldn't shoot them if they were doing that threat, because if they are they are running, I could shoot in their legs, for example. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it was fair that act also. Um, I know that with your anger you can react in that way, but for me it wasn't a good act
Mm-hmm.
to shoot those guys. I think that they could be shooten in their legs, and then the gems
The gems, uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
the gems could be in the floor, so
Mm-hmm.
he could recover those gems.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know, but at the same time I support him because I mean the owner of the jewelry shop. He was in defense, but uh, yeah, I don't think he needed to do that.
Mm-hmm. It could have been for the sake of anger,
Bec-
like you said, right?
um, yeah, one more thing, because in
Sure.
the article it says he wasn't in danger. Uh, uh, that's the thing why people are against him. The owner wasn't in danger.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the article mentions that the prosecution is saying that the owner wasn't in danger. The prosecution is the lawyer that is defending the the murdered teenager. So that teenager's lawyer is saying this owner was never in any danger, right? We don't actually know. I mean, the article also mentions that the teenagers did steal these jewels and these gems from him at gunpoint. So the teenagers were armed, right? I mean, the teenagers had guns. So
hmm.
when it's just a prosecution, I mean, lawyers lie all the time, right? I mean, they can twist the truth and make you sell your own parents. We like to say this phrase sometimes for fun. Lawyers will do anything to get their client to win. And the prosecution lawyer, the person who was representing this child or this teenager, he said that the guy was never in any danger. We don't actually know. Maybe he was. I mean, we do know that the teenagers had guns, you know. So
Imagine, unless
yeah,
you shot him, he will do. Imagine this.
yeah,
And when you are in such situation, you become out of control. You
absolutely.
cannot concentrate on whether you shot him on his legs, for example, shins, or something else. You lose
Yeah.
concentration.
I mean, it's hard to shoot a guy in the legs.
Yes.
You need to be very good. Like, I mean, if you guys have ever fired a weapon, like I took a gun class when I was in college, right? It is
Okay.
hard to shoot a guy in the legs. Like, I'm telling you, trust me, it's hard to shoot him in the back. I mean, if he's running away and if it's a moving target, it's very hard to shoot him in the back, even, depending on how fast they're going, if they're, moving in in different directions, if they're trying to evade you, right? I mean, this guy's a good shot. I like this guy. He can shoot a gun, you know.
Maybe
Uh,
he was trying to shoot at his legs, but he failed.
yeah, who knows? I mean, this guy, I don't think he's an army guy. He didn't have a scope, you know. He wasn't like, he wasn't like, I'm gonna just hunt this guy, you know, sit with like magnifying glass and all that stuff. He's not gonna have a scope, right? He's just shot the guy. I mean, trust me. I think maybe it's because in the United States we have such a strong awareness of guns that, I mean, we have people in this country with AK-47s in their house. Okay, legally, they own submachine guns, assault rifles in their house, right? So, I mean, it's almost like you would have to be a very dumb thief to rob a larger American house, or depending on the situation, we are very armed people here, you know. So I guess it's funny for me, but
It's
in
like
France, I
buying a
think
death visa.
it is, right? It is. If you want to fight with somebody in the U.S., I mean, there's also the whole gun culture also has many tragic stories. You know, every once in a while we hear some very tragic news, shootings and things like that. But people here know a lot about guns, and for us, self-defense is, I mean, top priority. I mean, nothing beats that. If you are in my house, if you are on my land, and if you are not my friend, and if you are trying to hurt me, then I can destroy you. And God help you. God help you. You know, that's the rule in the U.S., right? So anyway,
And it's
Maybe
very fair. I like it.
you like it,
Very fair.
Murad?
Yes.
maybe it could be also that the owner of the jewelry uh, has a daughter, and this teenage boy that was killed, he was trying to become his daughter's boyfriend. And he
Alberto,
did.
no es una telenovela, amigo. What are you doing, man? Making this into a telenovela.
Maybe it was a trap.
It could be. It could
It
be.
was a trap, yes.
It could be another. It could be another amazing twist to the story, right?
Yeah.
I once
You know.
heard such scenarios.
You did, Murad. You got to tell
Yes,
us about
a
this.
dad
Uh-huh.
got his daughter's boyfriend, and the boyfriend was very old,
Really?
50-year-old, older than her, and
No
he
way.
cut him. Do you know what I mean by cutting him?
Like sliced him up?
He cut something very important in his body.
Oh, okay.
The ears.
Yes.
In small pieces? Uh-huh. Was it his ears? I think it would be more than
No,
that.
it's
I
not
think.
ears. It's
No.
it's very
Maybe his private parts.
yes.
Maybe his private parts.
Yes.
And the rest can be our imagination.
It was very dramatic. Very
Unbelievable.
dramatic.
Was this,
Yeah.
like, what country was this, Murad?
I think in the UK.
In the UK. Okay,
Yes.
I'm not going to the UK anytime soon.
Imagine this.
I don't want a British girlfriend.
And her dad was always warning that man, always warning him, and he didn't.
Uh-huh.
He was very stubborn.
That's just weird. I mean, some people go crazy. And you know, Alberto, I like what you mentioned, right? Because in my culture, dads are crazy. Like, brothers are crazy, older brothers are crazy, and dads are crazy. We are very protective of our women. Extremely protective of our women, you know? Maybe it's the same in other cultures too. In the United States, this society is crazy. But in more conservative areas of the country, definitely. The fathers are very, very protective. And brothers and
I think it depends.
it depends as well.
It depends. Yes.
Some families not so much, some fathers not so much. That's true. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Wilson, you've been typing a lot, man. Did you have any other ideas you wanted to share with us? You can speak, man. No problem.
I'm laughing a lot, sorry.
No worries, no worries. It's fine, man. But yeah, so it's very interesting. I am 100% for freeing this jewelry owner, right? Especially, I mean, if you guys read the last statistic, right? This jewelry owner, this jeweler, is living in an atmosphere of fear. One gunman recently stole $136 million of jewelry from a shop in Cannes or Cannes. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know French, but
Con.
you know, Cannes. Okay, Cannes, right?
Yeah.
So one guy stole $136 million of jewelry. That is an unbelievable amount, right? After news like that, any jeweler in France would be terrified of what these thieves could do, right? I mean, it was an atmosphere of fear, an atmosphere of anxiety, an atmosphere of, oh my God, what are these people going to do? This is my business. This is my livelihood, right? Are they going to kill me? Are they going to steal my stuff? Are they going to?
And
I
you know
mean,
what?
yeah.
I think this will encourage other thieves to do the same if they
To
jail this person. This will encourage other thieves to do the same.
Do you guys agree with that, Wilson, Alberto? Do you think if this jewelry owner gets jailed, that thieves will become more bold, more brave? They'll do their own thing.
I agree. Maybe other rich people or other owners of jewelry feel more scary about thieves, and they will try to avoid using guns or protect themselves. So I think this will encourage thieves to start stealing. Yeah,
More
I
and more
agree.
stuff, right? Yeah. It could, maybe on the flip side, Murad, it could discourage thieves because they run the risk of getting killed, right? I mean, you can stand for, yes, I will rob a store, but I will die. You know? Just so the jewelry owner goes to jail, I will die for that. Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Many thieves, their psychology is probably very different from normal people. So, I do have another question for you guys. In the overall big picture, right? In English, especially in American English, we love to use the phrase the big picture. What is the big picture, right? Looking at the big picture, we can look at the details. Jewelry store, shot the guy in the foot, shot the guy in the shins, shot the guy in the back. Who cares, right? The guy is dead. In the big picture, does a criminal have rights when they are committing an illegal act? Is the fact that they are a criminal, does that fact nullify their right to justice?
Mm, I think they have the right to to preserve their life, but uh, when trying to do something bad like stealing or trying to kill someone else, uh, I think they should take the risk. Mm, I'm not sure.
What do you mean by take the risk, Alberto?
Mm, for example, if you are a thief, you are also a citizen. You have rights. Uh, you have the law to protect you. But if you decided to kill or to steal the house of someone else, you take the risk uh, to
To lose that
get
right.
killed.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
You take the risk. You are risking losing your rights when you are doing something illegal, right?
yes. Like you need to respect the freedom of other people, the rights of other people also.
Yeah. Very, very, very well said, Alberto. Very well said. Do you guys agree, Murad? Do you agree with Alberto, or do you have a different idea about this?
I just think that the jeweler must implement more security systems to avoid all this stuff.
Hmm. But I mean, how much security is enough? I mean, thieves are smart people. What if they can pass all the security and still harm you?
Human security, for example, not only systematized security.
So not cameras or alarms,
Yes,
but people.
human.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And why
Interesting.
not human and systematized securities?
Why not human and systematized security? Yeah, why not both,
Yes.
right? Yeah, I think that's a great way to think about it as well. But you know, honestly, I mean, yeah, you know, I think the dual combination is good. Wilson, questions for you. So, justicia comunitaria, what does that mean? And explain that for us. Community justice, right? What does that mean in Bolivia?
Mm, it's something like if the community thinks that you must be punished, maybe with your life. Um, it is supported by the law, that decision. So mm, something like stuff like that.
So in that case, in the case of justicia comunitaria, is there a judge or is it more of a public trial? Something like a public case, like a
Yeah,
community case?
yeah, it's a consensus, I think, with the community. If, for example, if a thief is trapped by the people from there, they usually take this thief to outside and call all the people from the community, and they decide if how can be punished this guy.
So is it the same, Wilson, as what we say sometimes in English, vigilante justice? Do you know if
I
that's the
don't know.
same? Okay. Maybe we can talk about this another time, but vigilante justice is something that we mention in English as the people taking the law into their own hands, right? Or an individual taking the law into their own hands. And the problem with being a vigilante, in some cases, it's considered to be a very dangerous thing, right? Because if you're a vigilante, then you are crossing the limits of what the law allows you to do, right? You may be, just like we heard from Alberto, maybe you are infringing, maybe you are uh, damaging the rights of this citizen who is a thief. Maybe you are crossing that line and uh, interfering with his rights by doing some kind of vigilante justice. Because, you know, the court should still hear this guy's case, even though he's a criminal, right? The court should still maybe hear his case. A judge should hear his case. His case should go in front of the law, right? That's what some people argue. Other people, sometimes it's tragic and violent, right? So, Alberto, give me an example. I mean, do these examples of justicia comunitaria, do they end up maybe killing the thief?
Yes, most of the time people start punching or hitting him,
Mm-hmm.
and they kill him.
Yeah.
But sometimes the police tries to arrive before they do this, but this is very violent, and most of the time they killed the thief.
Yeah.
And also sometimes the thief is an innocent person. They just confuse him, and the thief was another one, but they kill an innocent person. Yes,
Yeah.
it's really dangerous.
And that is tragic, right? So I think 100% I would agree with Alberto that if an innocent person is killed or harmed, that is tragic. But I mean, Not to say that if the thief is killed that it's not tragic, but it's even more tragic if it's an innocent person, right? So it is dangerous. I mean, Wilson, do you think vigilante justice or justicia comunitaria would that be effective in a situation like this, or what would you do? I mean, so you also wrote you should hire more guards. What would you do in a situation like this?
Well, it's kind of difficult, you know.
Yeah, I ask difficult questions.
Yeah, I can be agree with graffiti in the street that once I saw. It said um, yeah, there is a person that is telling asking to the government. It said we don't need more officers or security. We need more education. It said, and I like that statement.
Right? And that's a great way to think about it, right? So when we are looking at the big picture, right? I mean, even beyond this particular example of justicia comunitaria or vigilante justice or a thief getting killed by a jeweler, right? What is the root cause of larceny? Larceny is, of having thieves. Why do people steal, right? What drives an individual, this teenager? We're not saying he's a career criminal. We're saying that this guy maybe had a troubled history, maybe he had a bad family, right? What drives someone to steal? Wilson, what do you think? Would you think that lack of education, lack of opportunities are the reasons, or are there other reasons?
I think there are many sources that could drive to these people to steal or kill or be a criminal. But I think that with more education, we can save these people in many situations. But sometimes the government, the people in charge about this kind of issues are not doing a good job in this case. So I don't know. I'm known by a lot of people that they could be a criminal, but at the end they could they were given some kind of education that helped them and in a good opportunity, I think. And so at the right time. So that's why I believe that with education at the right time for these people, they can be saved.
So you do believe in giving people a second chance, Wilson, right?
Yeah, I do believe in that.
What about the idea, so I think you also believe in the idea of rehabilitation, right? If somebody is, if somebody is in a mental state that they are not able to be a contributing party, be a contribution to society, right? Then I think you agree that it's better to rehabilitate, re-educate that person than say, for example, this guy is a thief, we should kill him, we should put him in jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah, once I knew a guy. He used to rob a lot, and then they started to rehab re how can I say a verb?
Rehabilitate.
To rehabilitate. And it passes some years, and then he told me that when I was a robber, I used to have a lot of money. He told me, but that money disappeared immediately. It doesn't matter if you had a lot. it disappeared immediately. So and then he told me that if I, for example, he knows somebody that he has a business, and
Hmm.
he told me that not having a business is so much better to be a robber, because you have a lot of money, and that money doesn't disappear immediately. You value that money, and that's the thing that uh, it was it surprised me.
It was a very powerful message for you, right?
Yeah, yeah. With
Yeah.
education, we can do many things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Alberto, I guess to kind of close our conversation, we've had a great conversation. You did mention lack of job opportunities, lack of education, ambition, mental illness. Would you be able to speak about these a little bit?
Well, sometimes I think that people start stealing because there is a lack of opportunities for jobs, or simply they are really ambitious, and they want to get money easily, in the fastest way, and that's why they start stealing or doing bad things. And in other cases, people could have some problems, health problems, and uh, that's why they also commit crimes or do bad things to the society. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I mean, would you say that, would you agree with Wilson that maybe the best way to help these people is to give them a second chance? Do you believe in the idea of giving criminals a second chance?
Sure, because there was a guy that he was like a thief, a terrorist,
Mm-hmm.
and he started to change, and he went to jail, but he starts reading a lot of books, improving himself.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, After the years, he became in the vice president of Bolivia.
Really?
Yes.
What's this guy's name? I have to read about him.
uh, I will share the name in the chat. Alvaro Garcia Linera.
Uh-huh.
Who's the vice
He,
president right now?
Oh,
yes.
really? That's awesome. That's really good. I had no idea. He's a Bolivian politician, vice president since 2006. He was born in Cochabamba.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Became a mathematician. Um, he was part of the Tupac Katari guerrilla army,
Yeah. And
and
I
he was
think
arrested.
he
Uh-huh.
learned a lot of things in the jail. He studied a lot. He knows many things. He's a really educated person, but
Hmm.
he transformed his life.
That's great. That is so awesome. I mean, I had no idea that we have such people. I mean, of course, it's possible to have these people in the world, but it's very rare, right? I think it's very rare that we hear something like this. A guy who used to be a terrorist is now the vice president of the country. You know, that is awesome. It's really awesome. I need to read about this guy. Maybe people from Cochabamba are special. Wilson, what do you think?
Uh, I don't know. I don't like this vice president. He's something like crazy because
Really?
he, yeah, it's not it's not a good guy, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Anyway, he's in the government, so
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That's interesting.
we should
I mean, obviously
we, sh-
politicians are, yeah.
we should give respect.
Of course,
him.
of course, of
Yeah, but
course.
just because he's in the government, nothing more.
He's vice president to President Evo Morales. That's great.
Yeah.
Evo Morales himself is such a character, also. Such an amazing character. I mean,
Yes, he is crazy. He is from Cochabamba also.
really?
No,
Nah, he's
no,
from Oruro.
he's from Oruro, but it's near Cochabamba.
Yeah, he started
Yeah,
in Cochabamba.
yeah, that's crazy. Oruro, yeah. It's amazing. So much going on. I mean,
Yes.
I want to visit Bolivia actually. It sounds like such an interesting place.
Yes,
It
there are
is.
many things. Yes.
It's cheap.
Maybe if you have some free time,
Yeah.
you can search maybe in these days some sentences that Evo Morales said. They are
Uh-huh.
really funny, really
What did
really funny.
what did
They
he
are
say, for
crazy.
example? What did he say? Give me
Uh,
one example.
for example, I will write it in the chat.
Uh-huh. Evadas?
Um,
What does evadas mean, Wilson?
um, something like to say foolish things.
things like this.
Eating chicken makes you a gay person?
Yes,
What
yes.
the?
Yeah, that's.
Or for example,
He's
uh,
crazy.
uh,
That is
there is
so
this
weird.
one. Let me write it.
Uh-huh.
Things like this.
Coca-Cola is a poison. That is so funny. Oh my
Yes,
God.
there is a book with all these sentences said by Evo Morales because they are really really funny and they are weird, they are crazy.
You know, one of the things that we used to say about President Bush, we used to say that he said a lot of really silly things, also, right?
Yes,
And
right.
we used to say that President Bush, his phrases are called Bushisms. Bushisms, like some things that Bush says. So this is something like Evoisms. Evo Morales tienen su frases de Evo Morales tienen su libro. Okay, I need to read this. Evadas, frases de Evo Morales tienen su libro. 100 frases de Juan Evo Morales Aima para la historia. I need to read it. El pollo que comemos está cargado de hormonas femeninas. Por eso cuando los hombres comen esos pollos tienen desviaciones en su ser como hombres. Oh my God, dude, this is so funny. I'm gonna read this entire book. Oh my God.
Yes, he is crazy.
That is so funny. I mean, but he's still very popular, right?
Yes, but I think the brain of the government is the vice president, and Evo Morales is just a figure, like an icon for
Figurehead
the.
almost.
Yes, I think that's how the things works at the government.
It's really
Yeah.
funny. It's really funny. But you know, I mean, it's the same situation in the U.S. Honestly, guys. I mean, you know, it's not. Yeah, the vice president was a terrorist. Uh, it's really, at the end of the day, politics is such a crazy world. You know, I mean, nobody really knows what is happening in any country. I feel like, you know, it's politics is such a waste of time. Like, I don't know why people are always so excited about who the president is, who the government is, right? I mean, many times they don't represent anybody. They represent just their own interests.
Yes, that's right.
You know, so unfortunately, I mean, the thing with Evo Morales, that, you know, at the beginning of his time as president, you know, it was something that really I think it was a new moment for South America, a new moment for a lot of the indigenous people from what we were hearing. Like, I mean, in the US, for example, they were saying the indigenous people of South America, this guy is the first non-mestizo, I mean, he's like pure, South American, indigeno. And because of that, people were saying, yeah, people were saying that this is a new moment for South America, a new moment for Bolivia. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how much that really matters. I mean, the race of a person does not really dictate a better social or better society or better progress. I think. I mean, look at the guy's character too. Look at his education. Don't just look at his race.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So these problems are everywhere, man. I mean, if I were to start with India or where my family's from, that part of the world, same problems. I mean, if your father was a governor, you will be the governor. No questions. It's all family. It's all just like there's no real democracy. It's all about yeah, sure, people go and vote, but I mean, they might as well not vote. There's no difference. You know, Families are controlling it, other interests are controlling it, big money, corporations, natural gas, big politics. They are controlling the elections. Nobody, the guy, the poor guy who's working 12 hours a day trying to feed his family, he's not gonna, nothing is gonna change for him.
Yes,
Things
that's
are,
right.
it's the same everywhere, man, which is really sad. There's no difference between many of these societies. But anyway, guys, it's a pleasure as always. I really enjoy talking to you guys. Alberto, it's good to see you again today, I think, after a few days. Um,
Yes.
and Wilson, of course, you as always, it's always a pleasure. Did you guys have any other questions? We were talking about evadas and, Cochabamba and all these other things, right? We started with personal pronouns, so I mean, it was a long time ago. But I mean, do you guys have any questions? Anything else you wanted to say or mention in English or wanted to know about?
I think it's okay for me.
Awesome, Alberto. Great, great. And Wilson, are you okay as well?
Yes, I like the way you presented or you split the concept.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can memorize more easily.
Fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic.
it was good.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I know it's late in Bolivia. It's also late here, so I wish you guys a fantastic rest of the night, and hopefully we will see each other soon. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yep. Take care, Alberto. Buenas noches.
Okay.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Yeah. Take care.
Good night.
Good night. Take care, guys. Your spare time. Let's start with Wilson.
One thing that I liked a lot was watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What kinds of movies?
mm, uh, any genre.
General
Yeah.
movies, like sometimes Hollywood, sometimes maybe action movies, suspense.
Yeah, right. But well, I like yeah. We always have favorites movies, so it's interesting when you are with your friends. There is always a movie that need that could we watch.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you enjoyed watching movies and, many different types. Jose, what about you? What do you enjoy doing with your friends in your spare time?
Well, we are used to play soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and usually we bet when we play soccer, and the winner the winner will earn some money. Sometimes we participate in some competitions as well with our team,
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
against another teams that we don't know. But well, it's a funny time to spend the time with my friends that way.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. So you enjoy playing soccer. Uh, Murad, I think you have signed before as Jackie.
Yes.
Murad, how's it
Hello.
going? Good, good.
Fine. Fine, thank
Welcome
you.
to welcome to class. I think it's been maybe a few days since I've seen you.
Yes, because I used to be very busy at night.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes I try to attend your classes, but it's already over.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know my times are a little different in terms of being accessible to folks. Sometimes it's a little too late at night. But Murad, tell me, what do you enjoy doing with your friends in your spare time? With your friends or family?
We just talk about different things like soccer, well, sports in general,
Mm-hmm.
about culture.
Is I. Like for me, the individual, the subject pronoun is going to be I. For you, it's you. For he, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. These are the subject pronouns. I went to school. Who went to school? I went to school. Right? He drove the car. She cooked dinner. Right? So these are the subject pronouns because they're the ones that are doing the action. Right? So that's the first category of personal pronouns. If we have subject pronouns, then the opposite is an object pronoun. And the object receives the action, right? The object receives the action. The subject performs the action, and the object receives the action. So we have the same kind of setup, right? If the subject pronoun is I, then the object pronoun is going to be, what do you think is going to be, Murad?
Sorry?
What do you think the object pronoun is for I, right? So for example, you can say
Is
I,
me.
it's me,
Me.
right? How did
Yeah.
you get to me? Give me an example of a sentence using the object pronoun me.
For example, give me a chance.
Give me a chance, right?
Help
So
me.
Alberto, yeah, great job. Help me, give me, right? Alberto, in this example, is me receiving the action? Give me a chance. Help me.
Yes, you are receiving the action.
Exactly, right? So help me, the me is the object pronoun that is receiving the action, right? In this case, receiving the help or getting the chance, right? So when we look at the subject pronouns, we have, I'm just going to write these down. We have I, you, he, she, we, they, right? And you can be both for singular and also for plural. If you're talking to a lot of people, then you also say you guys or you, right? All of you, right? If you're talking to one person, it's also you, right? So those are the subject pronouns. And object pronouns, if we look at the situation here, if we look at the situation with Hey, Wilson, how's it going?
Hey Farhan, how are you?
Good, good, good. Welcome to class.
Thank you. Mhm.
How was your day?
Normal, no news.
Nothing interesting, nothing fun?
Yeah, nothing is interesting.
Uh-huh. Cool, cool. Um, any big plans for the weekend besides working with your friend?
Uh, um, I will review some software methodologies. Uh, yeah, it will be fun.
Nice, that's good. Software methodologies. And besides that, how's everything in Cochabamba? How's the weather?
Very windy, but at the same time it's sunny.
Really? So it's windy and sunny.
Yeah, these days are something crazy because there's a lot of wind.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why? Is it just because of the change in seasons, or is it something else?
Well, it's the season. It's the season, right? The weather season. But mm, in some way, it's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can understand it if it's not consistent weather-wise, especially if it's sunny, but if it's windy, that doesn't seem very. I mean, maybe it's fun, maybe because then if it's warm, then the wind makes your body cooler if you're outside. You know what I mean? Uh, it could have advantages also, but I'm not sure if maybe there are more disadvantages than advantages.
Right.
Yeah. Cool, cool, awesome. So staying busy doing software stuff. Uh, oh, okay. Jose just left. Uh, hey, I think I heard a baby.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose, how's it going, man? Jose, are
Hello,
you there?
Farhan.
Hey, Jose, how's it going?
I'm here, I'm here.
Good, good, good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, Wilson, as well. Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, Jose.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm figuring out if there is a. Uh-huh. Okay, sounds good. Guys, I have a question for you guys now, just to begin the class. What do you guys enjoy doing with your friends in your?
About movies. We sometimes go for a picnic to have, for example, outdoor meals like
Hmm.
lunch, dinner, and that's all.
Nice, nice. So generally, you have fun with your family and friends. You enjoy nice conversations, enjoy each other's company. Those are all great ways to pass our time with our families and friends. Um, Alberto, how's it going?
Hi, how are you doing, Farhan?
Good, good, good. Doing very well, thank you. Thanks for joining the class. We were actually starting off, Alberto, with a question for each of us. What do you enjoy doing with your friends and family in your spare time?
Mm, well, I think I like go to eat. I like try to find a new restaurant or try to taste a new dish or things like that. Sometimes I like buy Blu-rays and watch them with my family. Yeah,
Nice.
that's all.
So movies, good food, hanging out, just kind of enjoying life, right? I think I
Yeah,
think we I think we all enjoy doing those things, especially in our busy lives. And whenever we get free time with our friends and family, we try to make the most of that time. Uh, so today, the reason I'm asking these questions is because I wanted you guys to think about pronouns a little bit. Pronouns are the topic of today's class. And when we talk about pronouns, there are many different types. Today, our focus is going to be on personal pronouns. And personal pronouns are actually based on 4 different criteria, right? The first criteria is whether or not this pronoun is being used as the object of a sentence or the subject of a sentence, right? So when we think about pronouns, what are pronouns? Pronouns, if they are subject pronouns, that means that they are the ones, these are the pronouns that we use in a sentence to describe who is doing the action, the noun that is doing the action, right? So the subject does the action, right? So there are different types of subject personal pronouns. For I, the subject personal pronoun,